When we went to the cinema last night, I dropped a couple of stitches. I knit with the stitches very, very close to my needle tips. So I pushed them right up and I have them right up close to my needle tip, and you can see they're all bunched up here. So that when as I knit them, they just kind of jump up, and that's part of what makes me quite a fast knitter, I think. But that does unfortunately mean that sometimes they jump up before I get my right needle tip in. And that happened 3 times last night at the cinema. It's happened before at the cinema, and sometimes I manage to pick it up and sometimes I haven't. I think once or twice maybe I've had to just put my sock down and stop knitting because I was worried I was making it worse. But most of the time I can actually pick up the drop stitch, and most of the time it's fine. Last time I went to the cinema, I was absolutely fine. My sock looked perfect afterwards. But this film was, we saw Mission Impossible. So we saw Mission Impossible, and it's quite a dark film. Not in that it's a dark topic, but there's a lot of dark scenes. A lot of them seem to take place in dim lighting. When there's a bright scene on the screen, I can normally hold the knitting up in front of me, and then I can see through the fabric with the light background from the screen, and I can usually see the stitch and manage to pick it up. But there wasn't a lot of kind of really bright scenes yesterday. So that's the problem. So I thought I would show you how I fixed it. So I looked last night when I came home. I found out where the problems were. 2 of them, that one and that one, are probably not too big of a problem. I could probably leave them and it wouldn't be too obvious, but I can see it and I can feel it. And then there's a problem here where I actually just caught part of the yarn. So it's just like one of the plies of the yarn, and that will probably break, and then I'll have a loose stitch. So I'm going to show you how to fix 2 of them because I want to film one in portrait mode to put up as an Instagram reel and YouTube short. Hello, my name is Anniken. I design knitting patterns. I teach knitting workshops online and in person, and I sell yarn through my website yarnaddict.co.uk. If you'd like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. You can also click the notification bell below to be notified every time I upload a video. In today's video, I'm using a double-ended crochet hook that I've had many years, but I actually sell these in my online shop. These are wooden ones. They are not double-ended. They have a point one end, a crochet hook one end, and like a knitting needle point the other end. And they are from Knit Pro, and they're made of wood. The one that I opened to keep for me, I actually lost the smaller ones, or I broke the smaller ones rather. So it comes in 3 sizes. At the moment I only have this pack in my online shop, but there will be more. So if you haven't got any tiny crochet hooks and you do think they're a good idea, do check this out. I will link below. At the moment this is the only pack I have, but I will be ordering more, so hopefully there will be more in there fairly soon. Hope you enjoyed today's video and find it useful. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. So the first stitch is here. It's not too far down, so I've slipped 2 stitches over on that needle. I'm just going to pull them in a bit because there's only 2 stitches. I'm worried my needle is going to fall out. And then I've got a crochet hook. You can use a regular crochet hook. I've got these that I got years ago that have like a small one on one side and a bigger hook on the other side. And I quite like that, but a regular hook will be fine. Probably a good idea to have one that's the same size as your needle size or slightly smaller. So this is 2.5mm needles, and the small hook on this side is 2mm, I think. So I'm going to just take that next stitch off. So if the stitch is further down like that one, you need to just try and work out which stitch it is. So this is the one that's at the top. I'm going to just take that marker out. I just put that marker in so that I would find it easily this morning. Okay, so that's where the stitch is. That's gone wrong. So when what did I do here? Let's have a look. I think when I dropped it, instead of knitting just like that one, I think I did both of those strands instead of just taking like 1 strand. I think I got 2 strands. Is there something else wrong here? Let's have a look. I think the one next to it is a bit funky as well. So we'll try this one first. So I've dropped it down. It's fine below that. I like to put my left finger under these strands. So 1 strand is 1 row. So I can see them easier. You want to pick them up in the correct order. So if you put your crochet hook in, if you think of your stitch as an open archway, if you put your crochet hook into that archway with the hook part pointing upwards, if you put the hook part down, when you pull the stitch through, it twists it, and then you have to take the hook out and put it back in again. If the hook is pointing upwards like that, you can go find the first strand, take the hook underneath, and then pull it through. If you're new to crochet, if you just try and pull it through with the hook pointing upwards, it's not going to work. So you have to kind of grab this strand and then twist it around and through. If you can hear a little pitter patter of tiny feet, it is my dog. He's just been outside because the door's open. Go under the next strand, twist the yarn and through. There we go. Under the next strand, twist the yarn and through. Under the next strand, twist the yarn and through. So that's that one. So let's put that one onto that needle. I thought it was just that stitch, but this stitch next to it also just feels a bit thick and it looks a bit loose. So as I'm here, let's just undo that one. Yeah, the same thing had happened. So I didn't think I dropped 2 stitches next to each other, but maybe I did. I think instead of going through, when I picked it up, instead of going through the next strand, I think I kind of went through, I think I caught the second strand through both of those. I think that's what I did wrong. So, and that's what I kind of suspected I'd done wrong in the film. So let's do this through, under the next one, and through. So if I have the hook pointing downwards, when I grab the next one thing, it's a bit difficult to grab it. If I pull it through, then if I turn my hook around like that, my stitch is twisted, so I've got to take the hook out, put it back in again. Whereas if I keep the hook pointing upwards, I twist it through, then I can just go into the next one, and the next one, and the next one. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to, where's the next one? Okay, so that one I'm actually going to film for an Instagram reel and YouTube short. So I will do that, and then I will slip my stitches around to the other side and do that one. Okay, so let's have a go at the last stitch, and this one is down here, and this is actually where, don't know how easy this is to see. Can you see that's I just caught a bit of the yarn there. So I'm going to take the marker out, and then the most difficult thing when it's further down is to work out which stitch it is, because you don't really want to drop the wrong stitch, do you? So I quite often like to either take a knitting needle or my crochet hook. If I need to stop like here, I will usually just put my knitting needle or crochet hook under one of the strands, so I don't lose where I am. And it's that one. Okay, I thought it was the one that was on my right needle. It's on my left needle. I'm actually also picking around because I knitted too many rounds last night. So I'm going to take that stitch off, and because there's only 3 stitches here, I'm going to push them in a bit more so that they don't fall off. And then I'm going to unravel these down, 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 down. Quite a long way down. I'm slightly worried I may have picked the wrong column to unravel, but we'll, oh no, it's the right column. As you unravel it, as you get closer to where the problem is, it's easier to see whether you're unraveling the right stitch or not. And if it's not, then just pick it up. So my hook, so that is where the stitch is, and I just caught like one tiny strand of it rather than the whole stitch. There we go, that's the stitch. So you can see, can you see here? There's like a little bit, that's the bit I caught rather than the whole strand. So let's just pull the whole strand through. And is there a problem next to this as well? No, I don't think it is. I thought maybe I'd made a mistake next to it, but I think it's okay, feels okay, looks okay. So let's just pull this right up to the top again. If you don't know how to pick up a dropped stitch, it's a good idea to get used to it, especially in stocking stitch. If you've been knitting for more than a few weeks, if you know how to cast on, cast off, knit and purl, you really should be able to pick up a drop stitch in stocking stitch, in my opinion, because we're all drop stitches. I can understand that picking up this many rows is intimidating. I quite understand that, but if a stitch falls off your needle and just unravels 1 or 2 rows, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to pick that up. And if you can't, you need to either find a video that shows you how to do it. I mean, this basically shows you how. This is the same thing you would do if you just dropped one stitch off your knitting needle and it unraveled one row. Hang on, that one, yes, that one's okay. And then once you know how to do that, you can then use that same technique to drop down and fix things further down. So you start with stocking stitch. If you drop a stitch on the purl side, you just turn it over so it's on the knit side, because it's much easier to pick up stitches on the knit side. And then you get used to doing it in garter stitch and then whatever else you're doing, lace knitting, brioche, whatever. Brioche is difficult, lace knitting can be difficult, color work can also be difficult. Okay, there we go. So let me just put that back on the needle. So you can see parts of here, it is a little bit loose on one side, and that's because when you pull the stitch back through, you might just pull a bit more on one side than the other, but it will probably even out, and I'm not too worried about that. So I'm actually in the middle of unpicking around because I knitted too many rounds last night. So I'm going to finish doing that and then get on with my sock. I hope this video was helpful. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, just ask below this video. And let me know if you knit at the cinema, if you've made a mistake in your knitting, either at the cinema or somewhere else. Are you comfortable fixing mistakes like this, or would you panic and unrip the whole sock, or at least unrip the whole sock down to where your mistake was? Let me know in the comments, and thank you for watching.